after I'd lived for 4 or 5 decades, I realized that there were some things that I gained in my life, and there were some things that I had lost in my life. Considering that, if you've developed a habit of putting things off um, and until later to get them done, I encourage you to break that habit just as quickly as you can. I've heard it said that procrastination is the thief of time, and there's a lot of wisdom in that statement. Long term trouble will likely be much greater for you than any benefit that you might think you get from putting things off till later. I tell you from my own experience that putting things off, they begin to pile up and cause you stress. And usually, stress, when it starts adding up on you, it creates a cycle of anxiety that's really difficult to get out of. Stress and anxiety are real similar to one another. And like a successful married couple, each one usually shows up stronger when the other is weaker. So, again, I encourage you to break the habit of putting things off if you've developed that habit. And unless you do something to break that union of stress and anxiety, it's going to have an adverse effect on your health as well. And that's likely to continue a downward spiral. Um, it's That's not going to result in a good thing. You know, it's almost logical to realize that when we start losing our health, we start losing a whole lot of other things. Now, to wrap this up, I'll go back to where I started. That once I'd lived for a few decades, I began to realize that I'd gained some things and I'd lost some things. Let me talk to you about that a little bit. Once I lost my health and my abilities to do things, I even more felt like I was losing time. It was being stolen by when I'd put things off when I was younger. Because once I lost the abilities, I lost the options to do things that I could have done when I was a younger man. Now, admittedly, I was diagnosed 50 years ago with type 1 diabetes, so that kind of progressed the loss of some of my physical abilities. But the fact that I'm getting older also begins to degrade physical abilities. And from that perspective, I also feel like I've lost time. I've had time stolen from me. And there's nothing I can do to change that. Once time is gone, you can't get it back. It's, again, putting things off. That's like it's stealing time because, again, once it's gone, you can't get it back. Now, I want to encourage you. Don't make the same mistake that I did by putting things off when you're younger. When you get older, it's not going to get easier to do things. It's more often going to get more difficult to do things. Even if you're not a type 1 diabetic and lost some physical abilities. But anyway, I encourage you, don't make the same mistakes I did. When you realize that there's something in your life that needs to be done, right now is the time to do it. And I encourage you to do so.